Welcome into Pallilo Points. I'm Brandon Strange of Sports Map Houston. That's Charlie Pallilo of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 in Houston. Hey, guys, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do it now. We really do appreciate it. We just crossed the 10,000 sub threshold, and we're really excited about it. So thank you a lot for the support. Charlie, let's talk some Astros. MLB trade deadline is approaching, and we've already seen some transactions. Rumors have the Astros associated with a few players. We've covered the Max Scherzer rumors on this channel already. Scherzer makes sense, because there's a lot of questions around the Astros pitching. Another player the Astros are supposedly interested in doesn't make as much sense to me, and that is Marlins center fielder Starling Marte. The Astros don't have any obvious needs in the outfield. They're kind of at a logjam there. So, Charlie, for those who maybe haven't followed Marte because he has bounced around a lot, kind of describe Marte and kind of his skill set and where you think he would fit in, why the Astros would be interested in him.
Yeah, if they were to wind up acquiring a center field upgrade, obviously there'd be the clamor, the bullpen, why do you do something about the bullpen? Well, if you don't have the wherewithal, the ability to make the best offer, the fit just isn't right to address a weakness, or at least a relative weakness, nothing wrong with fortifying a strength, meaning the everyday lineup. Marte would be a rental, presumably a rental. He's 32 years old. He's having a solid season with the Marlins. He's a high on-base percentage guy with some pop. He's an all-right outfielder, not any sort of gold glove guy, and at 32 years of age, not super long in the tooth, but not young and spry. He's a good player, right? Came up with the Pirates, was there for a while, and then a couple of stops, and having a good season with the Marlins, who are not in contention. They made him a multi-year offer that was not rich enough, whether he wants to go to a more winning market or thinks there's more money out there for him. Miles Straw, after an abysmal start where the first month and a half or so he looked overmatched and didn't belong in a major league lineup, he's been very solid, particularly for a guy batting 8th or 9th, getting on base, plays in competent center field. But Marte, at least off the track record, the resume, and this season's resume, he would be a substantial upgrade, about an OPS 100 points higher, just a better baseball player. But Marte would be a good get. I know it would be the prevailing Astro fan opinion, well, if you had one bullet to fire, bullpen. But Marte and the other name that would be particularly fascinating, the Astros have been at least somewhat linked to, is Byron Buxton of the Twins, who started a presumed sell-off. Right? They're the biggest flop in baseball. They're dead in the water. Buxton, the first month of the season, was the best player in baseball. Better than Guerrero, better than Tatis, but as always seems to be the case, Buxton got hurt. He missed more than a month. He came back 3 games. He picked up where he left off, then got hit by a pitch, broke a hand. He's just getting ready to come back. He's 27 years old. He's under team control through next season. He is a gold glove center fielder, maybe the best defensive center fielder in the game. The offense was wildly over his head for what his career has been, but if the Astros wanted to bet on a stock that would be at least a little bit buy and hold, you'd have control for next year as well. An electrifying talent, and coincidentally, the guy the Astros passed on as the overall number 1 pick in the draft when they were solid with Correa, and Correa gave them a discount to take him number 1 overall. So plausibly, if you trade for Buxton, he'd be coming in for here and next season, perhaps as Correa is getting ready to move out.
Could you see them maybe putting Marte maybe in the leadoff spot and pushing Altuve down? Altuve's had great success in that leadoff spot, at least from a power standpoint, maybe not from average, but where would you see Marte in that lineup?
Yeah, I would guess Dusty Baker would be more inclined to not upset the apple cart with the mainstay guys. Now, it shouldn't upset the apple cart if you're trying to move that cart in the same direction and go with your best lineup and best lineup structure. But I'm thinking Marte as the new kid on the block, the idea would be, wow, let's really enhance the bottom of the order. You go back to the 2017 Astros, where you had Josh Reddick typically batting 8th, and he had his career year, the way overhead. His had fantastic year that linked in that Astros lineup, even Brian McCann in the number 9 spot, where there was no soft patch in that lineup. Whereas now, while Straw is dramatically improved, it's not like he's a big-time offensive player, and you have Maldonado, who's just been an offensive sinkhole, and while Toro or Garcia is in the 7th spot, now Bregman coming back takes care of that. But I would think you drop Marte in kind of in that second leadoff spot, if not 9th, in that 8th spot. Now, if he goes off, or if you have Correa just continue in the deep freeze. Remember a couple of years ago, A.J. Hinch dropped Correa as low as 8th in the batting order at some point. And I don't think the Astros should operate, given the reality of Correa likely leaving as a free agent. You don't need to kiss his tushy and not worry about hurting his feelings by not dropping him in the order if toward the end of the order is where he belongs because of his current production, right? This is all about the 2021 Astros. But I think if they add an upgrade at center field, he'll bat likely toward the bottom of the lineup.
If they were to add a guy like Marte to this lineup, and then you have Bregman come back, and let's say, Correa pulls out of the slump, which we trust that he will, where does this lineup rank offensively?
Oh, I think in terms of 2021, who's better? Right? The Red Sox are in range. The Blue Jays are in range. But getting Bregman back, that'll be like a major trade deadline acquisition. And then if you make an actual trade deadline acquisition, in terms of 1 through 9, right, Maldonado and Castro, they can make the outs at the end of the order. I don't think there's a lineup that you'd say, I take that one. If the White Sox get whole, that's another one. Your first tier teams, and the Rays are getting a big boost with Nelson Cruz. I don't think their overall lineup quite hunts with the big dogs, but their pitching staff is better than just about everyone else's. So it is a very, very wide open American League among the contending teams.
So would it be enough, though, with Marte in the lineup? Let's say it's not even Marte. Let's just say it's another offensive bat they add to this, and you get Bregman back. Is that good enough? While that's good, and you'd say they're one of the best, is that good enough to not make that bullpen move or not bring an arm in to solidify that rotation?
They're not in a desperate situation with the bullpen. Overall, statistically, it's a mediocre bullpen. Of course, on the downside, most of the contending teams are the ones with bullpens on the plus side of mediocre. But I do think they'll make a sincere effort. I mean, if they'd pay Craig Kimbrell his $16 million next season, the Cubs are probably going to deal him at the deadline. He would be a wow upgrade. And you have Greinke's money off the books and Verlander's off the books. Correa is not getting a big contract, so they could absorb if they wanted Kimbrell and Presley as a 1-2 at the back end of that pen. But there's still that reality. As long as they're going to get to the playoffs, and they're very solid to get to the playoffs, but you don't want to blow the division, right? You want to win the division, avoid that one-game Russian roulette of the wild card game. But that Garcia or someone is going to that bullpen. You'd like to see Christian Javier get back to where he was last season. He's been iffy in that pen. Presley's the only dependable guy down there. Ryan Stanek has been spurty, and he walks too many guys like most of the guys in that bullpen. If the Nationals won't trade Scherzer, but Brad Hand is a free agent, if they put him in play, left-handed reliever, he'd be a great get for the Astros. If they don't acquire a bullpen guy, I don't think it will be because they're arrogantly saying, we have this. It just will be their inability to meet the price for higher-end guys in terms of prospect quality, or they just consider the price tag too rich.